Okay friends, good evening. Today we are going to discuss about Unit 3, Optical Sources and Optical Coupling Materials. Okay, so let's have the introduction. A basic fiber optical communication system essentially consists of three components: an optical source, an optical fiber of the required length, and a photodetector. The role of an optical source is to convert the input electrical signal into optical signal. The major requirements of the optical sources are ability to directly modulate the intensity. So what are the basic requirements of the optical sources? That is the ability to directly modulate the intensity and also compatibility to optical fibers. So compatibility to optical fibers in terms of the operating wavelengths and power coupling. So next it will have smaller spectral widths and reasonable optical power outputs. Because of these requirements, the most suitable optical sources are semiconductors. Okay, light emitting diodes and the laser diodes are considered as the basic suitable optical source semiconductor materials. Then what are the optical sources? What are the basic concepts involved in the optical sources? So these semiconductors are special materials whose conduction properties lie between those of metals and insulators. This point we have already known about semiconductors. The conduction properties of a semiconductor energy band diagrams. The valency electrons occupy a band of energy levels called valency band, which is the lowest band of allowed states, and the next band of allowed energy levels for electrons is called the conduction band. Okay, higher energy band is called conduction band and the lower energy levels are known as valency band. For example, silicon having 4 group elements, that means 4 valency electrons. 3 or 5 group elements are required for doping. Okay, 3 or 5 group elements are required for doping. Energy gap between the valency band and the forbidden gap is of 1.1 electron volt. Here clearly the figure indicates how the electron hole, conduction band, valency band, how the electrons are excited into the conduction band from the valency band. Next, the electron hole concentration figure is like this. Okay, so electron concentration distribution both will be depends upon the temperature constant. Okay, the number of electrons and the number of holes indicates the energy band. Okay, hole concentration distribution which is lies in the valency band and the electron concentration distribution is lies in the positive band. Okay, in the conduction band. Okay, electron energy lies in the conduction band, hole concentration lies in the valency band. Okay, next, optical sources basic concepts. So what are the optical sources basic concepts? The valency and conduction bands are separated by an energy gap where no energy level exists, that is forbidden gap. At absolute zero temperature with no applied electric field, all the electrons will be in the valency band only. Okay, when some external energy is provided to the electrons at the valency band, some of them acquire enough energy to jump over the energy gap and reach it to conduction band. So the excited electron will get de-excited after every 10 to the power of minus second itself or recombine with hole in valency band. Okay, when excited electron falls from the conduction band to valency band, it releases or it radiates a quantum of energy called photon. Okay, called photon. Next, what are the optical sources basic concepts? Okay, E is equal to E2 minus E1. E2 means higher energy level minus lower energy level. Then E is equal to HF. HF in sense Hc by lambda. where H is equal to 6.626 into 10 to the power of minus 34 joules. That is Planck's constant, and c is the speed of the light and lambda is the wavelength. In order to have radiation, it is necessary to excite many electrons to the conduction band. Okay, this needs to be done in the form of an external energy. The most suitable way of doing this is by passing an electrical current through the semiconductor. Okay, just we are giving the external energy by passing an electrical current through the semiconductor. So optical sources, basic concepts. When a p-type material is brought in contact with a n-type material, a p-n junction is formed. Okay, so p-n junction can be formed either by direct band gap materials or indirect band gap materials. Okay, so here in light sourcing materials, mainly the p-n junction can be formed by direct band gap materials. Okay, that is third and fifth group elements. Optical sources. Next, in direct band gap materials, the maximum of valency band and the minimum of the conduction band occur at the same value of the crystal momentum. Okay, but K is different in the indirect band gap materials. Okay, in direct band gap materials, the maximum of the valency band and the minimum of the conduction band occur at the same value of the crystal momentum. That means here the third particle is not involving for the third particle is not involving in direct band gap materials, but in indirect band gap materials definitely the different crystalline structures are involved. Okay, when an external voltage is applied to a forward bias p-n junction made of direct band gap materials, electrons and holes recombine radiatively or non-radiatively. Optical sources. For every radiative recombination of electron-hole pair, energy equal to photon will be released in the form of light. This also we have already known that energy is referred as photon. For non-radiative recombination, the energy will be dissipated in the form of heat. Okay, so LEDs. What are the light emitting diodes? So here the LEDs are the best light sources for the optical communication system. These LEDs require less complex driven circuitry than laser diodes. So and also no thermal or optical stabilization circuits are also not needed. Next, they can be fabricated less expensively with higher yields. Okay, this can be fabricated less expensively with more yields. Okay, next, in fiber transmission applications, the LED must have a higher radiance output and a fast emission response time and the high quantum efficiency. In fiber transmit applications, the LED must possess these three properties. These three properties are very important, that are high radiance output and a fast emission response time and also the high quantum efficiency. Okay, so radiance output is optical power. So what is radiance output? It is the optical power radiated into a unit solid angle per unit time or unit solid angle per unit area of the emitting surface. It is measured in watts. What is the emission response time? It is the time delay between the application of the current pulse and the onset of the optical emission. That is the sleeping mode to active mode. Okay, the pulses from the sleeping mode to active mode. Next, what is the quantum efficiency? So, what is the quantum efficiency? It is related to the fraction of injected electron-hole pairs that can recombine radiatively. Okay, that can recombine radiatively. To achieve a high radiance and high quantum efficiency, the LED structure must provide a means of confining the charge carriers and stimulated optical emission to active region. So active region. So this active region is mainly composed with or mainly made with p-n junction materials. Okay, where the radiative recombination continuously takes place. Okay, so what are the confining the charge carrier? We are restricting the charge carriers to be in that particular region only. That is known as confining the charge carriers. Okay, next, LED structures. A simple LED may be constructed by forming a how this LED can be constructed? A simple LED may be constructed by forming a p-n junction using one of the direct band gap semiconductors. Okay, such an LED is called a if the p-n junction is made up of only with single direct band gap material, then they are termed as homojunction LED. Okay, homojunction LED.